thought I'd do something totally crazy tonight. I've been getting requests about apprenticeship, people wanting to come here in the shop and just, you know, hang out and then learn to do stuff. They're like, man, you ain't got to pay me. I just want to come out and see how to do this. I've always wanted to learn how to weld. Most of them was wanting to learn how to weld and fabricate stuff. So I thought it'd be cool if I'd done a, you know, how not to look like a noob in the shop. If you really want to weld and do stuff, just bear with me. I'm going to go over just general stuff that if you walk into a shop or if you want to fabricate or whatever, that I wish people had told me. So anyway, first thing I'm going to talk about is boots. Alright, let's get a shot of my boots. Where are they? Alright, if you walk into a shop with a brand new pair of boots that have no mileage on them, everybody's going to think you're a noob. I don't care if you've been in a fabrication shop for 20 years. Unless you've got something else on your body that says, I am not a noob, then you're going to be looked at as a noob. All right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got to climb the totem pole. But generally speaking, get you a pair of work boots, steel-toe work boots, and start wearing the shit out of them now. And then that way, at least they look a little broke in and they feel better when you're walking around on concrete. So, buy boots, wear boots, break boots in. Don't mind walking through metal and mud and everything else. Break those puppies in, make them look 100 years old. Because before you leave the shop, you know, these boots I'm wearing are 2.5 years old. I think I even got them used. So, because I didn't want to be the guy that walked in the shop with the boots. Next thing is all your gear. You know, what do you bring into a shop so that you look legit? And at least you got a chance not to be the guy everybody makes fun of on the first day, which you're probably going to be anyway. But going to your job interview, you got your old boots on. Next thing is your own welding hood is a big thing. A nice welding hood. I guess I'm trying to teach you all how to be posers. Not really. It's just things that whenever you get, the earlier you get them, you know, the better off you are. If you're just practicing welding at your house or your shop, whatever, then just get a cheap old, you know, Harbor Freight, whatever, welding hood. They do okay. I can weld as well out of one of them as I can. One of the nicer Miller Elite helmets over here that another one I like to use. Which it is a really good helmet. What is it? Just if you guys are interested in welding helmets. Speed Glass 9100. They're really good helmets. The Arc is a different color. I know it sounds weird, but it has more of a blue tinge, and you can actually see your puddle a little bit better. It's not, if you can weld, it ain't gonna make 10 cents worth of difference, okay? It's more of an aesthetic beauty thing other than I need to see the weld better. Next thing is if you're on a saw, okay? I think Keanu's already showed you this about the tape measure, pulling in and out of the tape measure. That is a big thing. And another big thing is bring your own tape measure, all right? The more tools that you bring that you know are supposed to be there that other people probably don't want you asking them for all the time, bring them yourself. Tape measure. Okay, get used to it because there's some funky tape measures out here. Some of them's got the, you know, they'll show the 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch and things like that. And I'd say get a tape measure if you're not sure with your fractionals. Get a tape measure and learn how to use that tape measure you have. Some tape measures even have millimeters at the top. Stay away from those. Those confuse you. I mean, I've got confused over those before, and I've been using a tape measure for a long damn time. Stay away from Milwaukee tape measures. These things, you see all the metal shavings on it. Like say see the hunks of metal. If I'm trying to measure something by pushing it in, okay, that metal shaving is going to hold me off that much of an inch on my tape measure. So stay away from those. Next thing is probably using a horizontal bandsaw. There's actually quite a bit to using a horizontal bandsaw. And this big lunker over here is a horizontal bandsaw. Okay. First, most important thing is you want your cuts to be right. I mean, you want them to be right down to a 1/16 of an inch. Most industrial, things in most metal shops will go down to a 1/16 is what they ask for. They shoot for perfect, but they ask for a 1/16 tolerance on everything. So a big part of that is how this backstop's set up. Okay? So if that backstop isn't completely squared, then your cuts will be long on one side, this side be short on this side. So you want to make sure that this is square. Any angle that it's at, and square just means that it is like a square. Any angle that it's at is going to cause all of your cuts to be off. It will cause one side to be either longer or shorter depending on which side that you measure. And it's almost always your right hand side that you measure, so you end up your left hand side ends up longer. Another thing is your conveyor, okay? And this is kind of getting a little bit more into how to set up your shop. So your conveyor is super, super important. This conveyor over here, this one, it's a pretty heavy duty adjustable conveyor because a lot of times I'll cut a lot really thick stuff sometimes, like I'll bundle things together so I can make one cut down the middle. And if the conveyor is like this, or you've got weld spots on your rollers or anything like that, however much something holds up a piece of steel off of your off of the conveyor is how much that the cut angle is going to be off the other side. And I've seen that be as much as 1/4 of an inch, and that can be really bad. So you've got to really level your conveyor with your saw. Here's a trick some people do. I'm not really big on it, but I have done it before, but I don't think it's the best way to do it because it's super hard to do. Some people will put a little bit of an angle on their conveyor, and I'm telling you not to do this, okay? But I am telling you, if you ever run into it, you know what it is. They'll put a little bit of a tilt on their conveyor, and that's so all the stuff runs out of the conveyor into the trough on the horizontal bandsaw. But whenever you do that, you've also got to have everything on an equal plane. So you've got to adjust your horizontal bandsaw to match the angle of the conveyor, and then that gets into just being a headache trying to keep it squared and keep it up. All right, more on the conveyor here. So I haven't anchored this one. I should anchor it. I haven't anchored it. But anchoring the conveyor keeps it from moving around, putting metal on there. And if your conveyor runs sideways, let's say that me and you person, you are the saw, okay? Me, I'm the conveyor. And this person here, this thing here is a piece of metal, okay? And it's gonna roll down me and then run into you. So if I am at an angle, you see how I'm gonna be running this way and you're gonna be hitting me at an angle? Boom, okay? So what you wanna do is you wanna make sure that your conveyor is lined up straight. Otherwise your metal is gonna be, the back end of it's gonna be pushing, and if it's a really heavy piece of metal, your vise isn't gonna be enough to bring it around. So you're gonna think it's tight, it's clamped tight, but it won't be. And then you'll have some offcuts again. So I think I'm gonna stop. This is already like 9 minutes long, but so many requests and things about, I wanna get into building fitness equipment, or I wanna learn to fabricate stuff. Blown away by them. I'm like, seriously? So this is, keep them coming. If you've got questions about fabricating stuff, or something that you see in the shop, or something that you want to know if I got any experience with equipment wise, holler at me. Somebody asked me about the Metabo angle grinders and why I use the cheap chintzy, these ones right here. This is the Metabo. Okay, I could fix it. I know what's wrong with it. The brushes, I took it apart. The brushes have got looks like a stop in them, which only lets them get wore down so far. So I mean, it's to protect the motor and stuff. But by the time you take this to a person to repair it, if you're repairing it, you can repair it yourself for sure. But by the time that you take it to somebody to get repaired and get the brushes in it, you mean you're done $60, $70 back into a $300 grinder. And that is, I wore the brushes out in less than a year. So if you're thinking, let's just assume I don't want to change brushes myself, because I feel like if you pay that much for a product, you shouldn't have to change them every year. But let's say that I have to replace them every year, then that's a $60, $75 a year rental fee is what I'm considering it, because the tool is getting depreciated. It's a consumable that drill has to use that's going to run you $70 a year. Okay, to me, I've got something else that I have more valuable than that, and that's my time and my money. I don't want to buy that. I don't want to do that. So these things, I bought these for $15 a piece. Okay, 15 bucks a piece. I think I bought several. Well, I bought all of them that they had. It was on a clearance thing. And I've got one about everywhere in the shop. I can probably turn around and put my hand on one. So right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see 5 right now. There's one up there, 6. I've only had one of them go down. And I've had these things for, I don't know, 5 years, 4 years, 4 years maybe. And I had the Matabu. The only reason I got it is because I want to get one of these because everybody says they're so good. And I would just use it all the time. So 1 year of constant use on the Matabu is done. And if you want to know more about those angle grinders, Matabu, Ave or Ava, AVE on YouTube has a breakdown of them, and he does a really good job because everything inside of it's what I found in mine. And you know, that's pretty much, he took it apart and showed everything about them. All right, catch you later. Keep, if y'all want to ask things, keep it coming. If y'all want to buy things, I'll sell them to you if I'm building them. See, and if I ain't building them, maybe I will. I don't know. Depends on time. Time is a hard thing. Great value time is.